Hey, what's up, y'all? You are tuned into the Nosy Nay Show, powered by GP Public Relations. I am your host, Nosy Nay, and I am here in Houston, Texas, with the one and only Erick Boyd, bartender here in Houston, Texas, y'all.
Thank you for having me.
Now, in today's episode, we are going to pretty much talk about Mixologist, a bartender who travels nationwide and offer his services for pretty much all types of events.
Yeah, we do corporate events, we do birthday parties, you name it. If you need a bartender, I'm there.
Well, Erick, I'm curious. Now, how did you get started in bartending?
I've started working at a particular restaurant. I'm not going to name it just because I'm here to build my business, not theirs. But I started at a particular restaurant as a server, and a couple of weeks into it, they were like, have you ever bartended? I said, no, never have. I drank my fair share, but I've never actually bartended. They were like, we think you would be good at it. So I started there, and that's when the industry it bit me, and I never looked back since. I've always loved what I do, creating drinks, interacting with people, and yeah. It's fun.
Yeah, and you know what? That's something that I see now that's really popular within mixologists is creating drinks.
Yes, you
have
to.
Now, tell me a little bit about that. Like, how do you go about actually creating a custom drink for a person who's just like, hey, I want my drink to kind of, represent me and who I am. How do you actually go about, creating those certain type of notes for a specialty drink?
Well, it depends on if you're creating for yourself or if you're creating for someone in particular. So if someone comes to me and they look at my menu and they say, this is intimidating, I have no idea what I want to order. Well, first I would start by asking, what do you normally drink? What do you, when you walk into your local liquor store, what do you normally pick up? Whether it be Hennessy or Grey Goose, whatever the case may be, I start there. Okay, so, you're a vodka girl. Fantastic. All right, let's build there. Do you like sweet? Do you like sour? Do you like a balance of both? What are some flavors you enjoy? Do you like strawberry, peach? And then I, compound on all this. I put it all together and say, hey, okay, I can do this, quarter ounce of this, half ounce of this, so on and so forth. And then we end up with, hopefully, something that you enjoy.
So, 2012 into now 2018, have you seen a shift within the bartending or mixology field? Because I'm going to tell you, back when I was in college, 2012, okay, what I can recall, I don't remember like specialty drinks just being as popular as they are now. I think it was just kind of like Long Island iced tea or blue mother, you know what I mean? Or... You know, and so now I'm seeing like a wide range and a lot of more creativity publicly and, the bartending field.
I think what it really is, what it boils down to is that as we age, our palates change. So in the beginning, especially in college or if you snuck into your parents' bar when you're in high school, I didn't do that. But no, it really grows with your palate. So in the beginning, you want something fast, sweet, and strong. That's what we all want, right? We don't want to sit up there and see a bartender take their time creating this classic thing. Like, no, I just want to get drunk. But anyway, as we get older, our tastes change, and we actually start to care what we put into our bodies. So you're talking about sweeteners made with natural sweetness, like an actual sugar, not anything artificial, nothing you can buy on the shelf at Kroger, this pre-made margarita mix. It's terrible. It tastes terrible. But back then, we didn't care.
He's like, give me some Patron. I'm just pour this up in there.
Exactly. So, I think it really it has to do with your palate. Your taste change as you get older. I'm a fan of bitter. Everybody doesn't like bitter. I like bitter and sour. I'm not really a fan of sweet. But those who like sweet, I can create something for them. But if I'm creating something for myself, perfect example. If I make an old-fashioned. Some people like theirs on the sweeter side. I don't like mine not so sweet. So I'll do a bar spoon of simple syrup in mine as opposed to in half an ounce or an ounce, So to answer your question, just your palate, as you grow, your palate changes. And also, you care what you start putting into your body.
Yeah. Okay. And that was the next thing that I was going to ask you. The variations of liquors from top shelf to, I call it penny liquor.
Okay.
I call it penny liquor because, I mean, it's so cheap. You get a bottle of Taco Vodka for like $7.
Nobody wants to drink that.
Yeah, but I know, it's like gasoline. I know, I agree. But as a bartender, can you give our listeners a little bit of advice about, when you're shopping for liquor, what, no matter if you're sweet, sour, robust, give us some pointers on how to actually shop for our spirits and liqueur.
Okay, so me personally, in the line I always use is quality versus cost. Okay, I explain this to a lot of people, and I hope it makes sense when I do it now. So when you walk into the liquor store and you're looking at these whiskeys, okay, I'm gonna just take my favorite thing, whiskey. So,
I love whiskey too.
Awesome. So you have bottom shelf, you have mid shelf, and you have top shelf. Okay, bottom shelf, I'm not saying you want to stay away from, but kind of do want to stay away from, because those are going to be the gasolines that you put in. They're not aged as long. It's just not a good process as far as making it. And then you come to the middle shelf, and then you have the top shelf. So, perfect example, what I usually keep stocked in my home bar as far as whiskey is going to be like maybe some brands you've never heard of. Larceny Bourbon. I keep Evan Williams, but 100 proof. Now,
yes, I love Evan Williams.
Evan Williams is known as a bottom shelf bourbon, but it's actually a great product. And the cool part about it, it's $12 for a fifth.
Yeah.
As opposed to, let's go top shelf. You want to talk about something like a Pappy Van Winkle, which is extremely overpriced, by the way. And then what else do we have? Maker's Mark. You're talking about $40 a bottle. Great bourbon, just overpriced in my opinion. And then you can transfer that to different spirits as well. Let's take vodka, for instance. Tito's is the best vodka out there, in my
That's
opinion.
what I was going to say, too. Shout out to Tito's. Let me tell you, Tito's is made in Texas.
Absolutely. I definitely support Texas products.
Tito's.
Yep,
Love Tito's.
So with that, like you mentioned Taka earlier, Tito's is $17 for a fifth. Taka is $8 for a fifth in scrap. Or you can go top shelf, which you got your Kettle Ones and your Grey Gooses, which are fine products, don't get me wrong. I just think Tito's is better for an affordable price. Now, if you take other products such as Ciroc, for instance, I'm a huge fan of Ciroc. I support black business, so I'm a huge fan of Ciroc. But when it comes bang for your buck, I always look for quality versus cost, because you want to do a little bit of research on your product. So if you do a little bit of research, look at the distillery, how it's made, how many times it's distilled, how long it's aged, and things like this. Don't just buy the name. Buy for quality.
I agree. And you know what? Kind of put it out there how bad, because I don't want to stir anyone away from their vice. But, lower shelf liquors are actually kind of bad for you. I don't think that your liver, filters it, as well as it may a top shelf.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. So it's actually true, because some alcohols, they contain things that are not necessarily good for you. Like some of them contain I think glycerins and these extra preservatives and these added sugars and things like that. Some of them even contain dye.
Wow.
Which is really not good for you. Some tequilas out there, I'm not going to name any because I don't want to bash, but some of them contain dye because they're marketing it as aged. It's not aged.
And it's not aged at all.
It's regular tequila that they put.
And then they try to hit you with that aged agave.
Exactly, yeah. And if you're buying tequila, only if it doesn't say 100% agave on the bottle, do not buy it.
Wow.
Do not buy it.
Wow. So, what are some of the spirits and liquors that you feel should be on the forefront, that everyone should know about, that no one is really giving a lot of attention to? Because you've named a lot of liquors like Ciroc and Grey Goose, and you have Hennessy. I know Hennessy is like a number one cognac. And anytime you ask anyone about cognac, they're always just like Henny.
Yeah.
Henny.
Anything is possible. But some spirits that I think don't get enough recognition. Since I'm a whiskey guy, I'm going to say Heaven Hill Distillery makes a lot of great products. They make the Elijah Craig aged whiskey or bourbon. I don't want to misquote it. Those are two different things, by the way. A lot of people don't know whiskey and bourbon totally different.
Yes, and can you please not to cut you off, can you please explain the difference?
It's really all about the mash bill of it. So what is it made from? So bourbon has to be made with at least 51% corn byproduct, and then the rest can be whatever. So for it to be called a bourbon, it has to contain at least 51% corn. And a common misconception is that bourbon can only come from Kentucky.
That's what I was going to say.
That's a misnomer. 95% of the bourbon comes from Kentucky, but it can be made literally anywhere. But it has to be made in the U.S. That's the only thing.
That's the only way. Okay.
So anyway, Elijah Craig is a great product. As I mentioned earlier, Larceny is a good one. Evan Williams, 100 Proof Bonded. What else do I really enjoy? As far as vodka, like I said, I'm a huge Tito's guy. Tequila, I'm a big Espolón guy. I love Espolón. I don't think they get enough credit for what they do. Let me see. We talked about cognac. Hennessy, they're world renowned. But another one that I don't think gets enough love is Pierre Ferrand 1840, which is actually, it's widely available in Houston for sure, I know. And it's comparably priced to Hennessy, but I think it's a better product because it's made in an older style of cognac. So it's going to be a little bit overproof. So Hennessy you buy, it's going to be anywhere between 40 to 42 proof. Pardon me, 42%. And what did I just say? Pierre Ferrand is going to be in the older school style. So it's Pierre Ferrand 1840. So it's made in the 1840s style. So they were a lot stronger back then.
Right.
And it's smooth as you can get. One more I want to mention, too, as far as whiskey, is Booker's Bourbon. It is hands down the best bourbon I've ever had in my life.
Really?
It's overproof as well. It's at 64%. So that's extremely overproof, but it is the smoothest bourbon I've ever had in my life.
Definitely one of those bourbons when you had a long day from work, you come in,
absolutely,
pour a little bit in your glass and sit back and relax, right?
Yeah.
So, Erick, you have your own business, and it's called The Boyd's Bar.
Absolutely.
And again, you travel all over. Now, tell me a little bit about how you actually decided to go into business for yourself and say, like, hey, I can do this.
Well, for me, it's something I've always wanted to do, was to own my own business. So it started out when I was a teenager. I wanted to own my own clothing line, and that went up all the way until probably my mid to late 20s.
Natural entrepreneur.
Yeah. And then I actually did start a small clothing line. It's called Mid Condition. I want to get back into it, but that's neither here nor there. But from there, I knew I always wanted to own a business. I just couldn't find my niche. So as I mentioned, I believe it was off air, going to Painting with a Twist, I felt like this was like a great idea. You have an artist teaching their passion to other people. And it took me 3 or 4 times of going, and it just clicked to me one day. I came home one day, poured myself a drink like I usually do, and I just sat there and I thought, reflecting on my day, I was just like, man, what can I do? And this popped in my head. So I was just, what I want to do is for people to come to a class, a very relaxed setting, and have a normal date night, but do something different other than going to the movies, going out to eat.
Yeah, or going out on the Houston club scene or anything like that. Like, really have a space where people can come together and enjoy your creativity.
Absolutely.
And you're actually teaching so they can go home and do the same thing.
And the dope part about it, you're going to do it in the class. You're not going to walk in and just watch me make drinks and be like, okay, hey, this is martini, go home and make it. No, you're going to come in, sit down. I'm going to provide everything you need to make this cocktail with me step by step. And you're going to get to enjoy it there.
Oh, my gosh. That is amazing. That is amazing. And just to kind of reference, what were you doing before you even got into bartending?
Before bartending, I worked in retail. So
hence the clothing. Hence the clothing line.
That's why I love the fashion industry so much. Yeah.
And so now, I mean, you have so much to look forward to into 2019, putting your classes together as well as, your business. So would you say there's any cons working as a bartender in Houston?
I would definitely say that there are. But nothing to sway me from doing what I love to do. Of course, amazing. You have to deal with the people who may have had too much. responsible alcohol service is a real thing. You know, you don't want anybody to leave your place and get into a car accident, hurt themselves, hurt other people. So definitely dealing with, you know, the people who've had too much can be challenging. They're calling you all kinds of names and I'm never coming back here and da-da-da-da-da. Like, dude, I just want to make sure you get home.
Yeah, they're just intoxicated.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
other than that, the hours can be stressful. Out till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, you're serving till 2, and then, of course, you have to clean. You know? Yeah. So the travel can be a con just during the downtimes. Of course, everyone loves to travel. I love to travel. But, you know, getting up for the early flights or getting up for the late flights after you've been out all night or, you know.
So any advice for any aspiring mixologists out there?
The main thing I would say is to learn your craft, actually learn what it is to do, because everybody thinks bartending is just putting a bunch of crap in a glass.
Taking it and just, here you go. Oh, hold on, wait. Don't forget the cherry and the lime. Don't forget the cherry and the lime, and then that's it.
Absolutely. Like, it's really not that easy. It's a good cocktail is all about balance. You know, if you put 4 ounces of any liquor into a glass and then you put 4 ounces of lemon juice in there as well, like, that sounds balanced, but it's not. You know, so it's really about, you know, like I said, balance and also the execution of it. You have to have a little flair with it. You have to have personality. Nobody likes a boring bartender.
Yeah, yes, of course. Yeah, I was going to say that. Like, you have to have some type of energy that people can, you know, relate to and really, you know, embrace. So that they're like, hey, that's my guy. Yeah. And, you know, as a bartender, how is that? You know, when you have a client who pretty much is a regular, who always is like, hey, that's my guy. That's my guy. I know that's like an amazing feeling, right?
Yeah, no, it really is. It really is. Like, when you have made an impression on someone so strong that they took the time out of their schedule, because nothing says that they have to come back here.
Right.
They stumbled in here one night and you made such a, not literally stumbled, but you made such a strong impression on them that they went out of their way to come back to see you. That is the greatest feeling in the world.
Y'all hear that? Do you hear that? Anyone who is going into business, or who is already in business, you know, customer satisfaction is everything, because that's what's going to keep them coming back. That's what's definitely going to keep them coming back. Now, the Boyd's Bar, can you please tell our listeners, as well as our viewers, hi guys, where they can find you and reach out to you, and just as far as bookings, as well as your social media platform, so that they can connect with you and, you know, look, make sure you book Erick Boyd, the Boyd's Bar.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. The page is very young, but you can find me on Instagram at The Boyd's Bar, HTX. And my email address is The Boyd's Bar, no HTX, just theboydsbar@gmail.com. Any questions you have, I have pricing info, and I'll be posting about the classes that we just talked about, which will be called Teach Me How to Cocktail.
Look, make sure you put us on the invite list. So, look, baby, we can get the exclusive.
Absolutely. I'll have the red carpet rolled out for you.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I truly appreciate it. You guys out there, make sure that you reach out to Erick Boyd, the Boyd's Bar. You guys are tuned into the Nosey Nay Show, powered by GP Public Relations, New York City. And we're going to sign out. You guys have a good night.